You're welcome. You're looking beautiful. Thank you. I'm glad we are all here because I know that you're all passionate about what has been going. We have gentlemen, big brothers, younger brothers, we have ladies, mothers, younger sisters here. They are all waiting to hear what we've got to discuss. Actually, the topic for this morning on this Social Enterprise Forum is Women Entrepreneurs for Sustainable Development. I quite remember the representative for the Ministry of Finance telling us that it's about positive change. And that is what we also stand for. I'll give the opportunity to introduce yourselves. And I'm going to start from my right. Please introduce yourself.
Hello. Hi everyone. I'm Adwoa, I'm the founder and CEO of Women's Haven Africa. So I was excited when you said what Kumasi. But I love the American vibe. So Women's Haven Africa is one of the few female tech and innovation hubs in Africa. And our focus is simply to be able to break the gender gap in technology, entrepreneurship, and leadership. Thank you.
Hello. So my name is Fati, Abdulai-Attarah. I'm the Executive Director for Attarah Ghana Limited. We are located in Upper East Region, Baobab. And basically, we identify indigenous value chains and then we work on operationalizing them. So most of the products we do are mostly new on the market. And so we go through all the struggles of even trying to work with FDA to create certification processes for these things. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. I'm Lauretta, Sackey, the CEO of Lauretta Unisex Designs. I'm into fashion. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Viola, Adwoa, I'm I'm the owner of Woven Worldwide. We're a socially conscious home goods brand based between Ghana and Canada. And we create eco-credential products for SMEs and also for our own e-commerce platform. And I guess later on I'll talk about other things that we also do.
Hello everyone, my name is Anatu Ben-Lawal-WELI. I'm the Executive Director for Women Entrepreneurship and Livelihood. I post-COVID intervention in adult creation and also social impact in Northern Ghana, Volta region, and the TS region in Senegal. It's a post-COVID pilot that we've been implementing this year, and we hope to have it renewed and continue for the next 5 years.
Thank you, ladies. You've all done very well by expressing who you are and leadership roles in various organizations. I want to throw a question quickly because of our time to you, Viola. Why do you think the female is considered the best gender to initiate social entrepreneurship?
Thank you. Well, first of all, I think this is a social construct of women. We are caring, we are nurturing, and you need these factors and these qualities to operate a social enterprise because it's not just about profit, it's about the impact and the growth of whomever you're trying to scale or develop or impact. So social purpose organizations are usually led by women, so it's actually time that maybe men come in for that type of structure.
And then, yes, quickly, to you, Lauretta, as well. If you can tell us, what makes it so different? Why should it be women? What makes it so unique to be the one to initiate social entrepreneurship?
I believe the basic impact of women in society is undeniable because women always give back to the society. We transform lives and also we educate women. The point is when you educate a man, you educate when you educate a woman, you educate a nation. We transform lives, so it's very, we know how to manage our affairs. And the second two is we are also the pillar in the family. And we know how to manage our families in the society too. So I believe when women are given opportunity, we can go far. Thank you.
That's so touching. So I'll just jump to Madam Adwoa, and if you can also tell us, because you're representing, the Ashanti region, we don't want to hear from only Accra and maybe Northern region, but let's hear what the Americans are saying as well.
Okay, so just as they've already talked about, you realize that even more than 75% of income of women actually goes back into the family. And naturally, and then culturally, you realize that women, when it comes to empathy, when it comes to looking beyond profit making to ensuring that we are meeting a particular need, is actually something which is natural about us. And that is why you find a lot of young women, mostly they are not really concerned about profit making. And so in research, you realize that most of the female-led social enterprises were actually not started or founded on the basis of profit making, but on the basis that they found a problem and they wanted to create a solution. And from there, they realized that they could actually structure their model to be able to make profit. And even up to date, there are several other women who are just all concerned about social impact and are now restructuring their model to also see the profit-making aspect. Thank you.
Thank you, that's so valuable. I'm sure you're learning by now. The way we are so passionate, we are so, I almost said romantic.
Yeah, it's fun.
So caring, making sure business is thriving, the family is doing well. Superwoman, and you are all great. All right, so to you, Madam Fati of Accra, Ghana, I want to know the milestones your organization has chopped so far, or some of the changes you've brought. Because if we're saying we're bringing social change, what is the social change your organization is championing?
Okay, thank you. So with Attarah, we actually work on 3 models. And every decision we make, we need to see, does it fit into this model? The first is that obviously we should make money from it. The second is that are we being environmentally sustainable? And the third, which is more like our heartbeat, is that are we sourcing from widows? And we have a peculiar story where our attempt to source from widows is to give them a voice in the community, is to draw away that societal perception that widows are ill-luck women and they have killed their husbands and nobody wants anything to do with them. And so for us, our success is that yes, since 2013, since that we started, we've always sourced from these women. And a study conducted by the World Bank with the Ministry of Gender tells us that we have 20,000 of these women that fall into the extreme poverty gap in this country. Another 23,000 of these women fall into the poverty gap. And this is just for Upper East where we operate from. And so basically, our vision for them is that if we are able to get these women to earn more than 800 cedis annually, then we are moving them from the extreme poverty gap to the poverty gap. If they are able to earn 3,000 and above annually, then automatically we are moving them out of poverty. And I must say that over the last 4 years, with the 400 women that we've started with, for most of them, we are able to either move them from the extreme poverty gap to the poverty gap, or either move them from poverty out of poverty. And so for us, that is our successes. When we visit our women and they tell us that, see, now I have a new home. I feel safe being with my children. During the dry season, I no longer have to come to Southern Ghana to seek non-existent jobs. Like, it makes us happy, and I think this is what pushes us. So for us, these are the things that we are happy about. We are not there yet, but at least we are happy that we are making some impact. Thank you.
I was going to go to Anatu Ben-Lawal-WELI. You see, I'm so emotional. She touched me. I don't know if you've read this book written by Walter on I Married You. And when the Christian missionary tells you what some women go through in African countries, just getting viral diseases because their husbands brought it to them, it's a little sad. And she's telling me what they can do for widows. I think we should give her a round of applause. So, Madam Anatu, can you tell me the milestone your company has achieved so far?
Thank you very much. We have been able to achieve many milestones. Actually, we got a report yesterday saying that we had achieved 70% of our outcomes. And it's only because of COVID that we had to drop 30%. So I'm very, very happy about that. You know, COVID coincided with a time when also AIDS is dwindling, women's issues, youth unemployment, the whole thing. So looking at these things, it's not just from just an entrepreneurship point of view. So we really focus on the issue of social enterprise. Where is the money going? What is going to create mass jobs? What is going to look at the social conditions of women, especially the issue of unpaid work and domestic slavery? And so we devised a project, we created a project which looked at answering that. And for me, I think that social entrepreneurship, as we continue to talk about it, it's important that we begin to create visible, large, tangible projects that people can really understand how social entrepreneurship can come into the society and impact that too. So we looked at it from half, 50% of it was the traditional NGO engagement, advocacy, post-COVID issues, sexual and gender-based violence, etc., communities. And one of the things I was really proud of was our male engagements. We were able to work in our 40 communities and districts, and we looked at specifically engaging males and trying to get them to dialogue and conversing. And when we finished, they all had to do pledges. That they pledged to help the women with unpaid and domestic chores, etc., and be kind. And so that was a really huge part on our side. Another area that we looked at as well was incubation. But I think incubation needs to go from beyond the general incubation that we do to specifics. We need to start looking at green businesses. We need to look at food and beverage, which also the area that we looked at. So created an incubator where the women will finish working and be trained in food production. We need to do this. Our incubators are too general. So when we enter and we come out, we still cannot see what the person really has. So whether it's cosmetics, different value chains, that's the kind of incubator that we need to have. So we started with the food and beverage incubator, and it's amazing. And the goal was that when we finish, how do we create a value chain system between the north and the south of Ghana and have really tangible products that people can buy and sell. As we wait for government to understand and to fund, etc., I think the issue of innovation and the creation of businesses that are very innovative, that will be very attractive. We look at other countries and they're able to release a product and 100 million will buy it, 10 million people will buy it. So I think we need to move outside of that. And Anna mentioned that innovation is key. That was one of the things that we did, that we really applied innovation. The project is a very big project. If I would talk about it to be all day, but these are the two areas that I think we did really well.
Don't put your mic down yet, because I still want to hear from you. So, you see, we had all the banks and the investors this time around kind of pitching to us. I was excited because I actually prophesied that this will happen, and it's happening. And before I even prophesy again, what's going to happen in business? So get ready for that. But then, can you tell me why they should be more interested in women social entrepreneurs? And you're all going to take a shot at that, because I know that there's a reason why we should be supported.
Okay, I think we all know and can agree that when you invest in a woman, you invest in a community. And we have seen that. And the reality is that women are more creative. Historically, research has proved that we are more creative and can multiply more with what we have. And then men have their benefits as well. Those are the things that women are really known for. And when you educate a woman, you educate a family, a society, etc., you are actually able to see the achievable outcomes, the outcomes that are very tangible and very beneficial to the union. And because of the historical oppression of women as well, it is time that we put more and more, and all those talents and skills that have been hidden and suppressed over the ages can come to the forefront and really begin to contribute to society and the transformation of the economy.
Great. Let's just move on from my left. Yes.
I totally echo, co-sign everything that you said. I also think that women, we just lead differently. You know, there's no room for ego. Sometimes, I'm not saying that all men have ego, but in terms of women, we just don't lead with ego to get it done. We are results driven in a different way that men are, and I think it needs to be recognized. I think also the way we structure our businesses, and not even talking about social enterprise, just for profit, for-profit businesses. We just lead totally different.
Okay, what I want to say is we, as Lauretta Designs, I give you an example. I also take the opportunity to train women for free. Just empowering them because they don't need to be independent on people. So just give them the skills so that they can also do their own thing, not be reliable on either the government or the family. That's what I do.
Okay, so why women? First of all, there's an equality gap. In most spheres of life, whether tech, whether finance, name it. Again, if we say poverty, usually the face of poverty is the woman. However, most women that lead think of their fellow women. They think about the vulnerable groups. They think about what we would refer to as the base of the pyramid. And so as a country, as a people, if we really want equality, if we want to have sustained change, if we want a fair and a just society, it is important that you invest in women who are thinking about their fellow women. Thank you.
It's like they've said everything, and definitely we can't take women out if we want to think around economic growth and development. And I'm sure that all the investors and everybody here who are waiting for the deals are all concerned also about the sustainable development goals. And then if you are concerned about that, then SDG 5, gender equality, if we are not achieving that, it means that we are not meeting the objective of these goals. And goal 17, which says partnership for the goals, we need everybody on board for us to be able to hit gender equality. And with this is where we can be able to achieve economic growth and development. So we need more of them to look into the area because there is a wide gap, and then we need to break this gap if you come on board to support women. Thank you.
Wow. Access to finance is very, very delicate, but also very important and concrete to the success of female businesses. So I believe that the banks are hearing it. SDG Goal 5, gender equality. So if you are not supporting, you have 70% of men accessing your finance. There's a problem somewhere. Go and tweak it, or go back to your university professors to help you to tweak it and come back to us. And you'll see our businesses never collapse. Anyway, I just want to know, with all those things, it has not been a simple route. That would be a lie. I would like all of us to tell in, not for too long, but then just explain some of our major challenges or some of the challenges that almost set us back, but we're still on track. This time I'll pick in between. Yes, I love the dark color this time. Okay, so let me go to Madam Abigail, yes.
Yeah, challenges. Are we challenges or more of what has kept us, right? So for me, what has kept me is basically learning and accepting that I need support and that I can't do it all. More so because I run two different organizations. I run one that is non-profit and I run the second one that is for-profit. And so running a for-profit organization is totally different from running a non-profit one. And so learning through the processes has been the journey that I have had to go through, looking out for profit and not just the social impact has been one that I have had to. And even accepting that, look, I don't know it all, and if people that want to share knowledge with me, I'm willing to learn. So for me, this is what has actually kept me. Thank you.
Madam Lauretta, if you can tell us briefly your challenges.
Yes. My challenge is about how it's been a good time being an entrepreneur. But my point here is sometimes you need a little push for you to move forward and to achieve what you want. some are maybe a little bit of money investments that they have to, maybe the bank. Right now, if you go that you need little money to expand your business, for entrepreneur, they'll tell you should look for maybe collateral or something. And I think it's not helping us a lot. It's not helping us a lot. So this is the time that I think investors or social enterprise can even come in and also help. Maybe if an entrepreneur needs machinery or something to help grow his or her business, if you don't want to give him all the money, you can just provide the machinery or whatever the person needs, just to boost their work. And I hope it's very, very important. Because right now, if you need money to expand your business, it's very difficult. I know the government is doing well, especially the BAC, but we are so much that the government is not reaching out to all of us. So I'm pleading that if investors or any organization here are ready to help, we are available. Thank you.
So Woven is facing cultural challenge, has faced cultural challenges, and I'll be specific. So we operate in Bulga and also in Accra in male-dominant basketry, right? And so when Woven is producing an order for another SME, maybe in Europe or in Canada or in US, these are large numbers. You're talking about thousands in terms of production. And sometimes, often when you work with white people, they want to actually speak to the artisan. They want to know that the artisan is being treated properly, and they want the women to get the direct payment, right? So yes, I have to speak to a supplier who's male and to make sure this is happening. And so there was an order, I told all of you, but there was an order that we recently lost because of cultural challenges, because the supplier didn't want to pay the women directly, right? He wanted to take a cut, although he had his own payment, right? He didn't want the women to receive. So I'll give you context. There was a 50-item order, milestone was 50 items, and each item was 500 Ghana each. And my client wanted the money to go directly to the women artisan, but the male supplier wanted to keep it and give them some. He said eventually it would collapse his business if such a large order would come in, because the woman would be making too much money, in his opinion, too much money, right? But the goal is to scale the business. Ghana is ready for work. You featured us on GIBC, but there are cultural challenges that affect the progression of our orders, right? So that's just the largest one is just cultural.
For me, I think generally I'll sum it up as the skills gap and the lack of understanding. We are now in the fourth or the fifth industrial revolution where we are moving towards more virtual work. So we are moving the world has moved towards virtual work. So there's a gap between what funders and investors are looking for and what we are practicing at this stage. And I think it's a big one in terms of being how to access finance, in terms of what works, what the people who have money are interested in, where the funding is going now. And I think that is what we need to start looking at and having meetings to discuss how are we now going to create mass opportunities for women to be employed, mass opportunities for innovation, that people will be interested in financing and giving to and putting into. You mentioned that, yes, it's true, looking at wanting support, etc., etc. But there are systems and there are people still financing, and we need to come up to that level. We need to use more digital tools, we need to use more digital tools, and we need to look and really even look at the research that will tell us how we're going to do this, how we're going to harness this, and how are we going to solve the problem of sexual and gender-based violence through employment and through women entrepreneurs, because I believe that 70 or 80% of that problem comes from finance issues. So we need to look at the feminism that is social in nature. Whilst we ask for our rights, we need to focus on wealth creation. How are we going to get women to become billionaires and multi-millionaires? How are they going to be the heads of the factories of the future? How are they going to, and when they do that and they come out, then they will be able to finance other women. You know, we can't continue to wait and say, oh, men are not giving this or what. For me, it's all about taking the power, not asking for it, not telling anybody, but just taking what belongs to us. But we need to be educated. It's not enough to say we are women, we are poor, we are struggling, etc. What are the tools? What does the world use? What are other people doing in other places that are successful that we can engage with and employ to be able to tell our stories better and to apply and come up with better solutions.
Unique and great. Their submissions, I'm sure, are well taken and well noted, and we believe that.
I've not shared my challenges.
Oh, okay. You want to share your challenges? I was going to skip because of time.
I really want to.
Okay, so let me
So yes, I believe that we don't just have to focus on only giving women access to opportunities, but also giving them the needed resources that they need. So for Women's Haven Africa, we have been focused on providing digital skills training in mobile app development, software development, data analytics, digital media, and there are several others. And also we also focus on how to digitize some of the businesses that we have also in our community. And so with this, we look at the fact that the young women need access to working spaces, they need access to data, they need access to logistics such as laptops and etc. And the hubs cannot provide all of these alone. And that is why we need some support from developmental partners and investors to come in. Beyond the hub is also where we're also looking at market access, exposure, and then funding opportunities for the entrepreneurs that we are working with. So we have been able to support more than 700 women in digital media, digital marketing, in software development, and then other skills. Now after this, what's next? We are looking around employability, where we are matching them to job opportunities. And so we are also looking forward to strategic partnerships. For instance, EcoBank is here, AFSA is here. We are in Kumasi. How can we have some sort of partnerships where we can match up some of our ladies who are well versed in digital marketing, software development, and in other skills that will be relevant to your industries. We are also looking at how we can also
Our time is almost up, and I'm sure that EcoBank and the rest, you need
everybody on board to scale up what we are doing.
Because of time, I want to be almost 100% for moderating this properly. Time is also money. So we're going to run. I'm going to ask one question, and it's just going to you, Madam Abigail, and then the last question goes to Viola, and then we're closing the session. All right, so has government done enough?
Okay, so that's a tricky question, okay? But I think that entrepreneurs or social entrepreneurs are at different levels. And I think that most often than not, we focus on the baseline. Most of us here tend to be in a middle gap, more like we are the missing link. And I must say that investing in us is more expensive, it takes more time, and in that regard, I'll say no. Yes, there is some support services, but it's not really targeting us at that level. And most of us here are more of the medium scale people. We are not formal. We are not in the informal sector. We are in the formal sectors, and the kind of support we need is different from what the government is actually providing. And so, I would say no. And I'll give an example. Like in mine, just one example. I'm in Volga. I need to certify my products. Most of my products will have to come to Accra. It's not decentralized. If I'm importing a machine, I need to come to Ministry of Trade in Accra to get some certification. So it's like, for me, everything is like double. I need to spend more money to do everything. And so that is the missing link. In that regard, I'll say government is not doing enough. And probably that is where government should be looking into. Thank you.
So you, Viola, briefly, what can Ghana do to create spotlight on women?
Okay, so SC, this is for SC Ghana, AFSA, EcoBank, anyone that actually deals directly with the MSME or the SME. I'll just give a story very briefly. So because of your return, beyond the return, with Woven being in diaspora business, I have had so many emails of Black Americans or just foreign people wanting to invest directly into Ghanaian businesses. And so whether it's a business that I personally know or maybe I've seen on the internet, I connect them directly, right? So just most recently, there was a tea and coffee company that a Black American wanted to invest in, but the Ghanaian business wasn't ready, right? She only knew retail, but she didn't understand wholesale. So I definitely think there's a room for teaching wholesale model. And so sometimes, even though I'm just the intermediary connecting, I have to go back well, it's my pleasure, but I have to go back and actually consult the Ghanaian business on how to create a financial model. They're sending emails of, okay, the tea is 1 kg, if hibiscus tea is 1 kg at this price, at 1,000 kgs, it's not the same times 1,000, right? You have to create a financial model, and there's just no education. Well, I haven't seen any education around how to structure pricing, right? Because if you want to scale, you need to know your price points.
Okay, just because of time. No, please. Our time is up and beyond. Briefly, do you agree? Yes. I don't want to be in trouble. Okay, so that will be brief.
Yes, so just to add up to the government aspect, I think the government is doing a lot, but most of them are through the wrong approach and then the wrong channels. Such that, for instance, if the government wants to create more jobs, there are hubs, innovation and tech hubs, who have been in this, already. The best approach is strategic partnership to strengthen the hub network so that they can be able to also build more capacity of the startups they work with, and then we can create more jobs. Social Enterprise Ghana has a lot of social enterprises in there. How do we directly partner so that they build systems and then we are also able to build the capacity of these people, and at the end we are still able to achieve our collective goal. So we need more partnerships with the government. Thank you.
Thank you, wonderful ladies. I have on the panel Madam Fosuaa-Women, founder and CEO of Women's Haven, Madam Fati Abdulai, Executive Director of Moderator Ghana Limited, Madam Lauretta Obeng Sackey, CEO, Lauretta Unisex Designs, Madam Viola Larbi, Managing Director of Woven, and Madam Anatu Ben-Lawal-WELI. It's been a pleasure having all of you. My name as a moderator is Boafo, and the founder and CEO of Moderator Ghana. We discussed women social entrepreneurs and their impact on sustainable development. Thank you so much for having us. Yes, because I was looking at the time, so pardon me. Would allow you to have 2 questions, okay? Is that allowed? Okay, it looks like the males want to ask the question. Okay. All right, so any other hand, and then, okay, and then, I'm selected already, I'm sorry.
Okay, so my name is Fosuaa, and I'm from Ghana Chamber of Entrepreneurs with Disability. I want to support my sister with something. She said something about, do we really even understand the social enterprise thing? Do we? And how many even social enterprises they themselves understand that they are doing social enterprises? And to my sister, the question really goes to my sister. Do your people really understand what you are doing as in social enterprise for your people out there?
Which of the sisters?
I think you see right, Fati. Yeah, thank you. So I must say that yes, and as I mentioned, I'm coming from 2 sections. I run 2 businesses. One is a non-profit, and I must say the non-profit is actually a 2nd generational organization. So it has existed for long, and so the structures are there. What the social enterprise is doing is building a profit model from what the non-profit has already done for probably getting to 30 years. And so they do understand the whole structure and model of our operation was done together with them, taking on board their inputs And that was why I said accepting support. And I had some support from some academia and other people that are passionate about that and going through the. So yes, they understand. And probably because I equally have a background in social entrepreneurship, so probably it makes it easier. But for some people that don't know, that are going through the process and learn as they go, obviously I get your point. It might be difficult for them to understand.
Is your question answered?
No, but I think that the first one was more or less like a contribution to what she said, because we should understand, so that we'll be able to build bigger organizations that are for social enterprising than what we are doing now.
Thank you so much for your submission. So we'll take our last question.
Good morning and thank you for this opportunity. I intend to commend women for the great thing that you are doing, because you are an indispensable asset to the development of this nation. My question is, to what extent are you leveraging on the unique capabilities that you have to be able to maximize the benefit among the individuals expected that you operate? Sometimes you have individual capabilities, but you are not able to work as a team to be able to leverage on this thing for maximum productivity. And that's my question. To what extent are you doing that so that you'll be able to take advantage of the unique capabilities?
Is this question to all of us or one?
Yeah, everybody that.
Okay, so I'll just answer it. I think that we are in a world where more and more women are getting educated, so their roles are changing, and as much as it's changing, we also equipping ourselves. In the past, you will not find us sitting here. Maybe we would have been at the kitchen making food for you to come back home and eat. But here you find us here, so it is changing. We still do it, and now it's a dual role. We're doing that and we are doing this. We are multitasking. So thank you for mentioning it. I think a lot more women have seen that it is good that we partner. In my company, we do a lot of partnerships with even our staff, and I'm sure that they are also doing a lot more with other women. So women will become a huge partnership and driving force within this nation, and that's the prophecy. Thank you for helping me to prophesy in 5 years to come. Thank you.
Hello, it's nice. Research have proven or have shown that 70% of enterprises collapse. They just operate for a short period of time and then they are no more. I want to know what measures you put in place as women to make sure that enterprises go beyond, they thrive in the country and then they go beyond the shores of the country. Thank you very much.
I think this is a very good question and very important one. The issue of SMEs collapsing within the first 2 or 3 years is very well known. It's not something that is disputed. I think there are 2 levels of conversation of this. So we can have the individual micro social enterprise, how do we support and how do we now make social enterprise to become a thematic area that is working in agribusiness, that is working in water and different, and able to produce jobs in the process. And there's a pathway that if I start talking, we'll finish today. But one of the things that we did, for instance, one of the things that we cannot lose sight of is that entrepreneurship is expensive, and investing in entrepreneurship is actually, buying machinery for everybody, etc. can be a headache. So one of the ways we tried to solve that was we have created a social enterprise marketplace around food. So everybody from our food incubator and from the university, the technical university can come there, and we have all kinds of machineries. They can book, they have labeling, they have a room, they share the facilities, they can crush anything, they can juice anything, they can wrap anything. And we are looking at having more of these centers in cosmetology, in different areas, weaving, etc. So when people can come and share the facilities, etc. Because that's one of the challenges. People finish and then getting the machinery, getting the setup, the access to and then we also have a shop attached. So you have access to markets. So these are models that we can play around with. But if you are looking at social enterprise and what is needed, if you look at it from an individual point of view, I don't think we'll get very far. That's why things have been slow. That's why people look at the whole sector and think, oh God, it's so expensive. Let me just run and go and feed some hungry children. And I'll be able to get the numbers and the impact that I can have. So these are conversations that we need to look at and go into deeper at another time. But that's one example that I wanted to share with you. That we need to critically look at these areas to prevent people from failing on this stuff.
Thank you for your information. We are not taking any more. I really am excited about all that we've been hearing so far. There's a time for Ayenchi, so thank you for alerting me The questions are enough only because of the time. If we have more time, I'm sure that we can expand this entire topic, and there's so much to talk about. But we can promise you that we are not going back just being people who talk, but we're going back as people who talk and walk our talk. Thank you so much for having us. We've already reintroduced ourselves, and it's time for us to go. Enjoy the rest of the program.
All right. Thank you very much, Catherine, for helping me, because that's part of my work, at least. It felt good sitting there listening to people. I didn't know that. Standing and talking when I sit down, I felt I'm the champion. When I went to sit there, and I realized that, hey, it's just good to listen more to people. So thank you so much for that wonderful moderation. Quickly, we missed one of our partners for the Goodwill message, but they are here. That's British